Okay, so now I'd like to introduce our second distinguished alumnus for today, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about Jason Mann. Again, you can see your bio in the program. I will tell you a couple of things about alumnus Mann. So he is a VP at SAS. Maybe some of you have heard of SAS. Well, SAS, of course, is a statistical software company and has consultants, but SAS also has built an Internet of Things division, and Jason is VP of that, which runs almost like its own business. It's a high-powered family. His spouse is also the VP of Human Resources and also has connections to the state in that area, so I'll let those groups recognize her as appropriate. And one little fun fact that's not in the bio, you can imagine that Mr. Mann does lots of travel for work and other things, and sometimes he outruns hurricanes. So not too long ago, he was outrunning a hurricane that was in South Carolina and trying to get out before the hurricane got there, trying to get to the airport because I had a trip. It required him to go to Japan, so made it just in time, so that was very exciting. Made it to Japan, woke up, and there was a typhoon. So alumnus Mann is facing down hurricanes every day. And please join me in welcoming distinguished alumnus Jason Mann.
We will not be chased by storms today, because that is the difference. Not a storm chaser, but chased all the time by storms. So I'd like to start today by truly thanking the department, ISE department, Dr. Swan, and all the facilities, or all the faculty, for including me in consideration for this recognition with a great panel. When I first received the call, Dr. Swan said, hey, part of this will be come up and give us 4 or 5 minutes about your experience with North Carolina State and its impact on your career. And so it's a retrospective process you're going through, you're remembering your experiences, and then quite quickly figure out it's an introspective activity as well. You start to evaluate decisions that you've made and the impact that the school has had on you. The best way for me to describe it is it's fundamental. It's fundamental, has been, and is every day within my job function. You think about what the university provided in the beginning, you move through these fundamentals. Right? There's the math, there's the science, there's the arts, all critical to the journey. Then as you move more into the discipline, you start to get that real world experience. So as I thought through the retrospective, there's these acronyms that come up, and see many of the students in the back. Supply chain management. Actually, it was kind of new a long time ago. ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. These things were new. And all the activity of the tools just in time, right? Just in time, some of the things driving manufacturing. And the recognition that we were being equipped for these things as we entered into the workplace. You think about what's the advantage of this type of program, and it really is the transition from those fundamentals, those building blocks, into the preparation to really deliver what people care about. The tragic fact is no one cares about your building blocks. Once you get into the workforce, it's really about outcomes. How can you improve the world around you? And that's something that gets instilled into you at North Carolina State. It's something that I actually call it an affliction of being an IE, SE, this is the current terminology. This morning, when I was typing in the directions to come here, I was going to debate ways, because I thought I could find a better way to get me here. We walked over and had coffee, and I noticed the coffee ran out. The thing that's going through my mind is, if we had a sensor on there that was waiting, we would know before that ran out. And I share this with people who come out of this department that every day evaluating, how can I understand the world and how can I make it better? And once you enter industry, you really figure out that it is those outcomes. If you think about the engineering degree, many are tasked as driving an understanding of what happens in the world. And then there's those degrees that get into other engineering degrees that get into the why. Why does this happen the way it does? And the thing that truly separates the industrial engineering degree from my perspective is you then go to the next step. How can I make it better? How can I make the world as I experience it better? So that's always been key and a driving force within my career. And then finally, the idea of a business case. I talk to my kids, talk to them over time, that the importance of a business case and driving the importance of not only what you're doing, but what people on your teams are doing. It's critical for your team to understand what they're doing, the why, and how it's important and how it changes the world. So as you move through your career, you have those early projects where you're building the why, you recognize that it's a competition. Right? Resources are expensive, and resources, whether they be people or infrastructure, are constantly in competition for use. North Carolina State prepared me in an extraordinary way to build those business cases to prove that. And as I moved into future leadership positions, to be able to communicate that back to the teams, because again, it's critical. And the understanding of what's important and how we can make a difference. So I'll wrap up with one small story again as I look at the students in the background. You get out of school and you enter the workforce, and you're equipped, all these tools, like I can make this better. And you start pushing your coworkers, you start pushing management. And I remember a day that was stained in my mind. I had a coworker pull me to the side, and he said, Jason, I think you have the worst case of new grad syndrome I've ever encountered. Now, in looking back, I don't think it was a compliment. But I took it. Because from my perspective, it is really about looking at things in a new way and wanting to fix them. So if I have any advice to everyone in the room, it's keep that affliction, keep that syndrome, and every day I think that North Carolina State gave me a critical case of new grad syndrome. And finally, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife for being part of this journey every single day. Thank you all.